Welcome back, everybody, to 30 Minutes of Fame. Yeah, I got out the big sound effects today here. I'm joined by Matt, also known online as the dancing legend coach Taters, um, grade 7 history teacher and gym coach from New Jersey. Did I get that right?
Yep, South Jersey.
All right, you're my first New Jersey guest. I have a little live map, so I usually pin something close. I don't want anyone to get stalked, just like a general location. And yeah, it's my live map, all my guests. So you're my first person in New Jersey.
Nice.
Um,
Always good to be the first.
we crossed paths in an odd way because of my dog and this little. I posted a stupid little video clip on Twitter to try and get people dancing with my dog, and another teacher tagged you and said you got to get in on this, and here we are. We're
And here we are.
my first live dance battle coming up later, and we'll get into that. But welcome to my show.
Very, very nice to be here. Very excited.
So the first thing that struck my mind was that the scuba Steve kind of flip. How did you how did you start combining dancing and teaching, and where'd that all come from?
So this TikTok thing has just blown up to something that I would never have expected. So COVID happens in 2020, and it was the year we got right about to March, and then all of a sudden the kids had to go home. We had to teach online. The kids had to go home. And my school district decided, you know what, why don't we have a dance battle? Why don't we like film teachers dancing, try to get the kids like, hey, look, we're all in this together. So once they put it out there, I was like, you know what, I have to get in on this. So the students before we left had been like, you need to start a TikTok. You need to, and I was just like, nah, I'm not a social media guide. And then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it. So I posted one video, and since 2020, it has now become a yearly thing. I have used it as a just keeping the kids motivated on the weekends. I have used it to build relationships. We're just the other day, we're at a little festival thing in my town, and two future students, I guess you could say, come up and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's the TikTok teacher. I hope you post a new video." And then they walk away, and my wife's like, do you know them? And I'm like, no, I have no idea who they are. I'm like, but now I go to the store and people are like, oh my gosh, it's Mr. Tater. And I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? And it's kept former students in touch with me. Like they are asking for videos. And it's just the way to like kind of humanize myself, because I don't want to come off as like the robot teacher. Because when I was in school, and I had great teachers, but I always felt that teachers, there were certain ones that you didn't know much about them. And I was like, I wanted to be the teacher that this is who I am, and you're going to get me all the time, and I'm going to try to develop more relationships with more students, even ones that I don't have or don't teach, in this way through TikTok, doing the silly dances and the silly trends that are on there and things like that.
You know what's cool, man? That kind of thing can have a real impact on it. I remember I had a grade 6 teacher that could do an impersonation of Grover from Sesame Street, and he used to be up in the class. This was like grade 4 or something. But he'd get right up in someone's face if they weren't paying attention. He'd be like, near? And he'd run back to the chalkboard and be like, far! Right? And his whole amazing Grover and that, how he used to get kids that weren't paying attention right back into it, that little thing, like, it sticks with you, that kind of stuff. So it's more power to you, man. But you got some fans. You got some fan clubs. I've been getting chirped just from Pope and a little hype episode about this dance battle. Like, you're going down. It's like WWE promo kind of stuff, right?
It is crazy because again, I started on TikTok and it was just for the students, and then I've always had a Twitter, and I kind of, that was a way to keep in touch with former athletes and things, and then it kind of faded, and I'm like, you know what, why don't I start posting the videos here? And then like you said, it just blew up to all these teachers that follow me, and they're asking for videos. It brings them a smile because I'm in the trenches teaching just like they are, and it's like, hey, you can lighten up and have some fun with it. So yeah, it has been very, very cool.
Now you're a seventh grade history teacher.
Yep,
Okay,
seventh grade history.
you could pick one person of all time, living or dead. Which famous historical figure do you think you would just smoke in a dance off, and who might give you a challenge?
I'm thinking, and I just read a book about all the U.S. presidents. I'm thinking that the guy that may take me in a dance off is Abraham Lincoln. He seemed to have been a very athletic guy and probably could beat me in a dance off. Um, But I'm thinking I probably could take George Washington just because dancing probably wasn't a big thing back then. So he probably wouldn't even know what I was doing, but I probably could beat him.
Now you're we won't get into too much politics here, but your current president has some moves.
He does. He does. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure mine are better. I know he's probably never going to see this, but I'm pretty sure I can beat him in a dance battle too.
Well, that's like our guy up here, Carney. I saw him dancing on the night that he won the last election, and it was like, oh my goodness, what are you doing? But so being a seventh grade teacher, there used to be that show on TV. I watched it a couple times, but I felt so stupid. There, you're smarter than a fifth grader. Do you ever watch that kind of stuff? Like, how do you fare there in the history
It's,
questions?
so what's funny is the history questions. I can keep up with some of it, and then some of it I'm like, oh wait, fifth graders are learning this. Like, oh man, this is pretty intense stuff. Because my journey to be a history teacher is actually unique. I went to college to be a gym teacher. I went for phys ed. I actually got my degree in phys ed, and I couldn't find a position. And I knew from like middle school that I wanted to be a teacher. So I got in with the district I currently am in as like a teacher's aide, and the principal came to me and said, "You're amazing with the students. Is there any way you can get your history certification?" And I only needed like one more class. So I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And she's like, I'm telling you, you're going to be an amazing history teacher. Just get that certification. So I went out, I took the one class, I got certified, and then I've been in the classroom ever since.
Wow, that's I can't even imagine. Well, combining those two, do you ever combine the classes and like do some history stuff in gym class?
So when I have started to incorporate a lot of movement and things into my history class. Like, I'm not a big sit down and open up the book and read out of the book type of person because I know that students don't learn that way. Students are changing, and I'm personally not a one that enjoyed sitting there and just reading because you're like, okay, I'm just kind of taking it in and leaving it. So I will take them outside. We will be in the hallways and looking at posters and looking at artifacts and all kinds of things. The less time that they spend in the desk is like better for me. I'm known as that teacher in school that I'm sending out the email like, hey, just so you know, don't go to the library because I'm going to be walking around, or I'm going to be out on the baseball field because we're going to be doing something out there. So I really try to keep them into it with that movement, and my way that I teach is very like you would think that I am in a gym just based upon how loud I teach. And I do that to keep them energetic because it's one of those, if you bring the same energy that somebody does to the gym, you bring that to the soul studies classroom, it's going to be fun. It's going to be energetic. It's going to be high, high octane type of stuff instead of, again, just standing in the front going, okay, chapter one, and then just reading it like that. So I try to bring those two aspects together as much as I can.
You ever had a student just come right up to you and challenge you to an on the spot dance off?
I have had students, if they will come up and they'll be like, "Did you see this move?" And they'll start like moving like this, and I'll be like, "No," and they're like, "I want you to post that on TikTok." I'm like, "All right, give me like a day or two to practice," and then, but they will come up with all kinds of crazy dances and stuff, and they'll be like, "Well, have you ever seen?" And they'll say like some strange name, and I'm like, "No, I have no idea." They're like, "All right, look it up tonight, and I want a video by Friday." And then usually I'll try to offer some sort of like, "All right, well, listen, if you get, a 90 or above on your test, sure, I'll post a TikTok on Friday," and then I'll offer the challenge to them, and they take it. And then again, it builds that relationship because it's that silly little dance that they look at because they're trying to impress their friends and they're posting on videos. Now their old soul studies teacher is doing the same thing, making a fool of himself. And it's like, all right, he's actually a pretty cool guy. Like, and again, that opens the door to further deepening relationships with students. But yeah, they challenge me to dances all the time.
You know, my daughter is about to hit grade seven, and I'm terrified. But she actually was the reason I joined TikTok for some. We were at a concert, some children's, kind of like the Canadian version of the Wiggles, and they
Okay.
were giving away all these DVDs and stuff. And you had to join TikTok and post a video of them dancing and whatever. But there's a lot of good on there, man. There's a lot of evil, but like the recovery community, the musicians, I've met so many guests on there. At least 20% of my guests I find on TikTok when I'm just scrolling late at night. So, what do you say like when someone says to you, "Oh, that's so evil. What are you doing dancing on there?" Like, there's nothing but garbage. Like, what do you? what positive things have you gotten from it?
Well, and that's one of those things where that's why I do what I do. And that's why I post. And I actually started recently posting like Legos that I've built because I build Legos and I bring them into my classroom. I try to humanize myself and also put out the positive because the only way that it's going to change is if you put out the positive and show the students like, hey, look, there can be positive. And because life is all about the views and the likes, and because that's just how their brain thinks. And it's like, oh, look, Mr. Tater got 2,000 views on his TikTok because he was dancing and being silly. Like, you can be positive and it is received. So the only way to change that, because it does have a stigma, social media does have a you know dark cloud over it because it's, ooh, it's not if you look in the right places. I mean, yourself, case in point, we met and I have since been listening to your podcast, leading up to this, and it's amazing. It's amazing the stories that you hear from people, and it's just reaching out and just saying hello. I mean, really, that's how we started. That
Yeah,
one teacher tagged me, and then you're like, oh, hey, and then we've been talking pretty much every day since then, and
it's
it's a
crazy, man.
pretty
Like
cool thing.
I've had doctors on here, I have lawyers on here. I had a Miss America pageant that's like tried to, had a plan in place, not wanting to be alive anymore, and I just love it because you never. It's really been an eye opener for me not to just judge someone. Like I've had a lady on here that's like in like 2% body fat, but she started out at almost like 300 pounds.
Mhm.
So you encourage people watching, be like, you go to a gym and it's intimidating, but not everybody in there. Everyone started somewhere, and
Yes.
I just love talking to like mental health, all that stuff. It doesn't care what you do for a living or how many digits are in your bank account, right? Like we're all just people, and it's so real, and I just love running into all these everybody.
Yeah, it is nice. And it's one of those where I will have students who are now in college who will message me and tell me about what they're doing in college and how they're doing. And it's that connection. So the students know when they leave me, I'm still around. Like I am just a seventh grade teacher, and I like to think of myself as a little blip on the radar. Like, you have so many teachers in your life, especially once you start getting to high school and possibly college. But if you ever need something or you ever just need a smile, just tune back to my page, and I am still there. And I mean, students from 2020 are still like, oh my gosh, you're still doing this.
Yeah,
Yes. And and they laugh, and it's fun. But yeah, it is nice building those connections with people. I mean, on
and
all, Twitter, TikTok.
yeah, and you never know who's watching. I was in college a long time ago, like back in the 2000s, 1999. But I had this college instructor who his whole thing was tiger and the rose. You had to be as fierce as a tiger and gentle as a rose every day of your life, and it was stuck with me. I added him on Facebook when that first started, and then he started watching my boxing updates and going from like 392 to like 150, 160 pounds lower. And then you never know who's watching because I got a message from him one day and he's got a picture set up at this home gym and he's starting boxing lessons and like trying to get healthy. I'm like, wow, like someone that had such an impact in my life,
Hmm,
I got to turn it around,
that's pretty
and now
cool.
my little story's having an impact on his, and that's he's like
That's
10 years older than me. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
You post. I've seen a lot of Paw Patrol tweets. What's the story there?
Oh, I just happened to see the preview for the movie the other night, and I'm like, oh, just this Paw Patrol, and I do a summer camp. That's my summer job, and it's an elementary school that's not in my district. So all the students there are talking about it. I'm like, oh, let me dive into what is this Paw Patrol thing, because I kind of get stuck into my middle school bubble. So I try to
fun
keep
fun
tabs on
fact
everything.
about that movie is the voice of Rubble, the yellow one. He's actually from where I live, so it's kind of
Oh, really? That's pretty
yeah.
cool.
I watched a lot of Paw Patrol back in my day. That's why I asked about it. And usually my daughter would fall asleep on me, and I'd keep it on just to see if they saved the baby turtles. Right? I'm like, man, I've been watching this for an hour and a half, but I can't move. But it's
Right.
there's my Paw Patrol story. Um, what's the worst excuse you've ever gotten from a student for not being able to participate in gym class on a day?
So, worst excuse that I have ever gotten, and I'll go back to when I was student teaching, because like I said, I'm not really in the gym anymore. Like I'm just in the classroom. But the worst excuse I ever got was I can't at least do laps around the gym because I don't have sneakers on. And I'm like, do you have shoes on? And they're like, yes. I'm like, seems like you can walk. And they're like, but I really don't want to. I said, oh, okay. So the excuse is not that you can't do it, that you don't have shoes, it's that you don't want to. I said, and that's a completely different animal. But that probably was the worst excuse I ever got. When you're doing the college student teaching, like every kid likes you at that point because you're, younger and not their teacher. So that's the cool thing.
Beautiful. How long have you been a teacher? I forgot to ask you that.
So I'm going up on 9 years. This will be my ninth year as a history teacher. But I have been in my current district for 11 years.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I was a one-on-one aide with students, typically students who had behavior issues for 2 years before I became a teacher.
So you have a pretty tight community, I've noticed on the X on the Twitter side of things, and you do a lot of. Every year I see these lists, and I just found out that's kind of a thing up here as well. These teachers help each other clear their lists. Um, I've heard there's a big controversy with some lists, so I'm gonna be careful how much I say about it. But
Yeah,
how do you feel when like about that with like clear like lists in
so
general? I don't think teachers should have lists, but that's just my opinion. I think everything should be provided, but
it started in the year 2020. That's when it really became a thing because once COVID happened and parents and guardians were seeing what was going on in the classroom, it was like, oh my goodness, teachers do so much. And then it became these lists like, hey, if you want to help or you want to make this experience better, here's a list of things. Now, I am very fortunate that I work in a district that is beyond supportive in anything that I ever want to do. I mean, they are very supportive, and I always find the means to get whatever I need. I mean, the principal, everybody is always willing to just give, and I really don't find myself struggling in that respect. But when I went on X and I found these teachers that there's some districts that don't even have enough money for pencils, and you're like, wait, what? Because I'm very lucky that I do, and my students are very well taken care of. So I have used the videos and I've used the influence to try to get these lists clear and try to get these basic needs met. Now, I have had a list in the past. I didn't really do it too much this summer, but I've used it for things like Legos. Like I have gotten Legos of monuments from around the world, like different things that I teach, and I put it in my classroom. And I have these little Funko Pop figures of all these history people that I add to my classroom because books that I think the kids would be interested in reading. Because when students walk into the room, and even if it's students that I have for the first time, they walk in and they see Legos, and it's like, oh my goodness, my history teacher likes to build Legos. I had a student this year who saw my Legos, went home, recorded all of her Legos to come in and show me her collection and asked if I liked it and if I ever
oh
built
well.
any of them. And it's all about those relationships, and whether it be helping people clear lists or trying to meet students at their level. It's about relationships, and that's what makes this job fun, and that's what makes this career fun. It's not it doesn't have to be doom and gloom. And I know that you mentioned that when you look on Clear the List and there's like that doom and gloom side of it, it's like, okay, well, we'll just keep those people over there. Like we're
Yeah.
in our bubble. We're being positive. We're doing what's good for students. We're doing it. So when the student walks in on the first day, they smile. There was a student who did not say any words to me, probably for 3 months, maybe 4 months. Was a good student, did his stuff, but just never really, I tried, but never really communicated. And then one day comes up and goes, just so you know, I built the Lego Game Boy this weekend. Do you want to see a picture of it?
Oh,
And it was like that. It like opened the door where it's like something silly where you're like, nah, but it opened the door. And then there was that relationship built. And it was, we're on the same page, and, we're rocking and rolling for the rest of the year. So this whole clear the list thing, I use it to build relationships with kids because that's in the end, that's what it is. I mean, like you had talked about your professor, your teacher, building those connections so that years later, hopefully they're sitting down with their family and they go, huh, remember that seventh grade history teacher that I had? He was a pretty funny guy, or he was a pretty cool guy. I wonder what he's doing. Um, so in the end, that's what it's about. It's about, creating this space for students to feel comfortable and to have fun and enjoy learning. Like, learning doesn't have to be, oh my goodness, going to school. Like, it can be fun, because for some students it's an escape from the outside world. Like, for those 7 or 8 hours that we're in our bubble and we can have some fun, not worry about what's going on out there.
That's beautiful. My daughter had the same teacher in grade 4 and 5, and he's a big hockey fan, like Vancouver Canucks. Well, we're all hockey fans up here, but so he used to incorporate his team and my team are like rivals, and so he used to incorporate a lot of his teaching and stuff with like hockey references and stuff. And we'd be watching the game on a Saturday night. And my kid would be like, "Oh, this, and this. Did you know this?" I'm like, "Where's this all come from?" It's like, it's my hockey teacher. But
That's really cool,
it's
because,
beautiful.
like I said, like that's what it is. It's making those connections. So when she was connecting that learning, and she wasn't even in school, and
Didn't
it
even
was,
realize it.
yeah, didn't even realize that you're learning.
So let's get to what we all came here for, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna step outside. We're gonna have a little dance battle. And then when we come back, we're going to give you some very specific rules. You have to follow the vote. I don't know. Maybe I'll make a little trophy or something. There's got to be something we can put in our profile or something for this. But we're going to step outside. We're going to battle. And then we'll be back to finish up here. All right, everybody. How was Matt danced so hard he had to change into a fresh new shirt, and I lost my hat somewhere that I had on the video. Maybe it was those moves, but here are the rules, everybody. So if you comment below, just Murphy or Matt or Tatur or Dave, just put in there that's who you're sending your vote for. But if you subscribe to my little channel, that counts as two votes. So it's kind of like American Idol kind of thing, where you text twice. You can only vote however many YouTube accounts you have. I don't care. If you create, I'm not doing it. We're not going to analyze it, but so we'll leave this open until we said what, the middle of September.
Yeah, we'll leave it open middle of September. Yeah,
because we want school to open up. I got a principal I just had on who's gonna send our video out to his people. And yeah, I might try and get my daughter's school involved too. Her old teachers were pretty tight, so the hockey guy. So this is gold. So just comment who you're voting for, Dave or Matt. We'll figure it out. And then if you subscribe, that's 2 votes. No wagering on this, anybody. We don't condone gambling. If you do want to make a pick, but perhaps we'll come up with a little trophy or something we can put in our TikTok profile or something for the champion. But that was awesome. I'm out of breath. I need to go lie down for a bit here after that.
Yeah, I think I need a nap.
All right, man. I got one more question for you.
All right.
This is how I end all my shows. Just the light. I've had some pretty heavy topics on here. A little bit of recovery, all kinds of things. But it's just how I kind of just end my shows with a bit of silliness. So, New Jersey edition, a 100-meter pigeon carrying contest.
Okay.
How many pigeons could you fit in your arms, carry 100 meters, and still have left at the end of the race?
Carrying pigeons, 100 meters. Figuring a pigeon probably weighs maybe a pound and a half. I can put some on my arms. You know what? I'm feeling confident after the dancing. I'm feeling all souped up. I'm feeling confident. I'm thinking I could go with about 20 pigeons.
20
If I
pigeons?
Yeah, if I could run a little slower, but still get a hit a jog there, probably could go with 20.
Well, that'll land you in the top 10,
All right,
which
top
is
10's a
not
good
bad
start.
because you're going to finish in second place on this battle.
But we will see. There's been a lot of that preview video hit, and there's been a lot of chirping going on.
There's been a lot of hype, and the people sending me nothing nasty yet, but just you're going down. No one's referenced my age yet. I turned 51 in 10 days. I'm in better shape than I was in my 20s. So yeah, we might have to do a sequel if this goes really well. Maybe a live
Just
one.
say,
I
yeah,
don't know. We'll see what happens. If they can have 180 UFCs. We can have Dance Battle too.
true. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Thanks for coming on with me. Keep me in a light in these foggy times, and I'm sure those kids are going to make impact for years to come. And
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. And I love the positive on this podcast. Keep it up. I'm still working my way through all the episodes. It's an awesome time.
so everyone, you can go give him a follow if you're on TikTok. I'll put the link there. But feel free to vote if you feel that way. But
As long as it's for me.
ah. All right, everybody. Make sure to say one nice thing to one person every day for the year. You can change someone's life.